in Scorpio. So again, Scorpio requires very spiritual signs, and Mercury Moon is aspecting the Saturn, so Mercury Moon is showing publishing, writing, a lot of information is there. And with the Ketu may show that spiritual blend in the 10th house. 10th house has to do with some kind of company, so that's there. In the Navamsha we see Ketu and Moon are in the 5th house, so this is very good for psychology, for self-discovery, going deep, and a kind of study of the mind, even the brain, and such things. And Mercury in the Leo in the 10th house shows earning basically from books. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are answering the specific question you have asked on Instagram story. This is the Dashamsa, the 7th house. So we are focused on that. Normally in the previous videos we were doing the one chart and many rules. Also one question I have for you, because I changed the lenses a little bit and also different format here in the room. Let me know if you prefer this or the last format. In today's video we'll be trying to do many charts and only one rule. We will be focusing on the 7th Lord in the Dashamsa. So why the 7th house? The 7th house is showing basically the partnership, other people which we are partnering with. This can be either in the private life or career life. So I hope you like the video. Also let me know which method you like more, if the one chart, which is more thoroughly, or many charts and one rule. And if you are brand new here, my name is Rafał Gendash, and this channel is all about Vedic or Indian astrology in the tradition of Sri Achyutananda with the modern analytical and research example based approach. If you guys enjoy this video, please hit the thumbs up, and it really helps the algorithm to make these videos visible on YouTube. And if you want to be notified about similar videos in the future, please click that subscribe button with the bell notification on. So let's dive right into the video. So we will be analyzing the Dashamsa chart. Dashamsa chart in Vedic astrology is the specific dedicated chart to the career life. So we have the one main chart, one big chart, but unlike with the Western astrology, it's not the only chart. We have also the specific charts which are dedicated to particular areas of life, like children, married life, career life, even spirituality, education, even the past life D60. These charts are very handy and very useful because we can get much more precise details, and also they are very handy when it comes to timing, because we can time the events much more easily with those dedicated charts. We will be analyzing today 6 charts of astrologers. 2 of them are also nurse, so it's nice to see that in the chart. Then we have the one financial advisor, one fake guru, 4 artists. We have the tennis photographer, TikTok artist, model and singer. And then we will go to the food and drinks. We have one person involved in the wine industry, business, red wines, and the other was the restaurant owner. So these charts we'll be analyzing. Specifically, very quickly, we'll be going through the 7th Lord in the Dashamsa chart. So the first chart is of Robert Schmidt. He is the astrologer. So here we are seeing that in the 7th house in the Dashamsa, Dashamsa is again career life chart. 7th house is about the business, so we need to see planets there, how they are showing the reality of having some freelance or business. So in this chart we have Jupiter and Ketu. Very straightforward. This yoga is very often related to people who are somehow involved in the parampara, in the tradition. Here we also have Venus and Ketu, so this yoga is especially related to Jyotisha. We will see also another chart with the same yoga. We can additionally analyze also the Rasi chart. Here we have the 5th Lord, very strong, Mangal exalted. When Mangal is in the Rujaka yoga, this also gives the person who is into esoterics, and this is a 5th Lord which is related to knowledge. For astrologers we need to have 5th Lord related to 12th house or the Agni Grahas. Also all the things related to Aruda are there. The Aruda Lagna here will fall in the Virgo, and there is note there, so we need Rahu or Ketu with the Aruda Lagna. Aruda Lagna is showing how we are how we are acting in society. So when Rahu and Ketu shows esoterics as a sector to which we belong. Second from Aruda Lagna usually is connected to Sun. Here we see Venus Lord is with the Sun, and 11 Lord from Aruda Lagna, because the people are coming to the person, all kinds of people. So this is the moon. And then we have also the Rahu, which is the Atmakaraka here, is with the moon in the Navamsha. This is important because the moon is 11 Lord. So another yoga for astrology is that Atmakaraka has to have some connection with the 11th house. And here 11 Lord is with the Atmakaraka. It can also happen in the Navamsha, so that is quite a valid point. It's not some stretch or extension. I also have this yoga in the Navamsha and not in the Rasi chart. Rahu is with Moon, and in the Navamsha this is also aspect in the 10th house, Scorpio, and the Mars, Mercury, also this yoga is there. So the Mercury Mars may show printing or any kind of books, business, communication, writing, and this Rahu and Moon is about the research related to history or anthropology, all that things which Moon shows. So he was also translation and our co-founder. This happened in March 93. So that would be the first chart. The next chart is of also astrologer. She also lost a child. So we can also see that in the chart very quickly. 9th Lord. For women, we see the 9th Lord. And Jupiter, the significator for children, are in the 8th house. So 6th, 8th, and 12th are the worst houses. They are called Dushtana in Vedic astrology. And in the Dashamsa, if we see for Jyotisha, because she was also astrologer, 7th Lord is the moon. But Rasi Drishti is important. Rasi Drishti is a special aspect of science. You need to learn that, to use that, because it's very useful in the Vargas especially. So here we see that moon is at 7th Lord and Venus Ketu aspecting and Jupiter Rahu. So Jupiter Rahu is more for kind of scientific research, Venus and Ketu for astrology. Especially we have the nodes somehow connected to 7th Lord. So this basically provides some kind of esoterics. We would say that the moon can divert this business more into either helping people or something related to healing. The next chart is of Louise Huber. We know that she was suffering in the end part of her life due to dementia. Normally, Sanjay Rath was teaching that moon has to be involved with 5th or 9th and Saturn Rahu connection. Here we have Saturn Drishti on that moon in 5th, and Rahu is having Kartari Yoga on the moon. So there is this connection. In the Dashamsa, if we go for the 7th Lord, we have a Mercury in the Scorpio Rashi. Scorpio is related to esoterics. And then we have also that Lagna with the Guru and Ketu, so this Parampara Yoga, and the 10th Lord is in the Lagna, which means that the person may represent some board or any kind of company. So that is, this can mean that person have the very strong position. Especially this Jupiter is the same 10th Lord from the Rasi chart. So the 10th Lord from the Rasi chart in the Shamsa being in the Ascendant is showing the skill and abilities and success. Why? Because this is directional strength. So planets have that directional strength. For Jupiter and Mercury, this is in the Ascendant. So when the 10th Lord from the Rasi chart is the main one. If it's having directional strength in that career chart, we call the Dashamsa, then the person attains success and is very able. We see, especially for Jupiter, this ability may come. And Jupiter Ketu here, especially in Pisces, definitely some kind of traditional, spiritual, higher knowledge oriented career life will be there. The next chart is of astrological and also nurse, Donna Sneed. And here she also lost a child, unfortunately, due to a brain tumor. We see again Jupiter and the 9th Lord. For female we see, for women we see 9th Lord. Venus here with Jupiter in the 12th house, on the house of loss, but Tushtana, so some misfortune related to children. If we go to Dashamsa, to analysis of Dashamsa, we see that Jupiter, being a 7th Lord, showing a freelance business, is with the Sun in Aquarius. So again, the node we have Aquarius and Scorpio. These two signs are lorded by the nodes. Nodes are Rahu and Ketu. These are the periphery of the lunar cycle. So there is a north node and the south node, and they are showing in when we talk about symbolism, then it shows that the moon is the center, very balanced. It's like you are a conformist, we could say. The Rahu and Ketu may show either something antisocial or either something which is transcending the social norms. It could be down, which can make you criminal, but it can also make you up, which means that you are trying to ask questions about the world, you are into metaphysics, and also astrology, philosophy. These things are in that category. So here we see that 7th Lord is in the 9th house Sun, so we have some academical blend, and also with the node definitely there. Moon and Mercury, because she was a nurse, this yoga, Moon and Mercury is for medicine. This is in Ascendant, so this defines her character. She can be also famous from that because it's an Ascendant. And we also see that 6th Lord, which shows employment, service, is in Pisces in the Dashamsa. So there is also definitely showing, Pisces showing hospitals, 6th Lord, and the sign of the 6th Lord shows where you are working. So you are working in hospitals. So the next chart is also Astro Nurse, Marion Le Bayron. And here we see that the 7th Lord in the Dashamsa chart is Sun. It's in the Libra, so on the first glance, there is no connection, but there's this Mars and Saturn yoga, the Rasi Drishti of Mars and Saturn, and this may show dealing with death. This can show Sajon, people who are working with very high risk or dangerous jobs, but also esoterics, also this Mars and Saturn is giving here. So especially for people who may be interested in some kind of reincarnation, channeling, transformation, and things like that. So this Yama yoga is there. And here we see that Mercury again in the Cancer. So Mercury Moon yoga is there in the 6th house of employment. So therefore we can say that she was also a nurse. In the Navamsha, very straightforward, we have Rahu and Jupiter in the Trikona, which is giving the abilities for higher knowledge. And she was suffering from a pulmonary disease, the lung disease. For this we usually see Mars and Rahu in the 4th house, according to Brihat Parashara Horashastra. So here we have Mars in 4th, aspected by Rahu, Rasi Drishti. We have here 4 planets in one sign. This is normally showing someone who was a very spiritual in past life. This can also show people who can be a little bit austere or renouncing this world and this life, not interested in these material aspects. 4 planets together, Pravraja Yoga. Pravraja means to renounce. The next chart is of Christopher Weidner. Here again we have this 7th Lord Saturn in Scorpio. So again, Scorpio requires very spiritual signs. And Mercury Moon is aspecting the Saturn. So Mercury Moon is showing publishing, writing, a lot of information is there. And with the Ketu may show that spiritual blend in the 10th house. 10th house has to do with some kind of company. So that's there. In the Navamsha we see Ketu and Moon are in the 5th house. So this is very good for psychology, for self-discovery, going deep and a kind of study of the mind, even the brain and such things. And Mercury in the Leo in the 10th house shows earning basically from books and from things like that. So Mercury is in the 6th house here in that chart with the Sun. This also gives in the main chart, this gives person who's very intelligent, and this is the dispositor of the 10th Lord in the 1st. So 10th Lord of work, 10th house shows work. In the furthest writing, dispositor is in that Sun Mercury. The Sun Mercury is a yoga or a combination of planet for very high skill. Is in the 6th house. 6th house has to do with memory. So this intelligent yoga is there. Also, we have to remember 4th Lord and 7 makes person very highly educated. The next chart is, I already did that chart on YouTube. This is the Ferry Brayton. He was a finance minister of France, and also before that he was a former businessman. And we straight away see Atmakaraka Saturn exalted in the 10th house, in the Venusian sign, so the Saturn and Venus very often shows entrepreneurs. In the Rasi chart, that's there. In the Dashamsa we see Rahu, Jupiter in the 7th house. Jupiter is in 7th Lord. This is usually showing some kind of financial speculation will be there. Again in Pisces, but here instead of hospitals may show some places related to spending, because basically it's about the 12th house. 12th house is also about spending. The next chart is of fake guru Gilbert Borden, also from France. So he was basically the founder of the sect. This was called Mandarom. And in his Dashamsa we see 7th Lord. 7th house is Gemini, the Lord is Mercury. Mercury Moon in the 10th, so again writing. He was set to write 22 books. In fact, he was initiated by Shivananda Swami. So he had that spiritual part, but then something got off and he was accused also of molestation. So we see that the Aruda Lagna is of Ketu, which shows the person is seen as a spiritual person. The path is a spiritual, social path is spiritual. But it's also Aquarius, which is lorded by Rahu. So if Rahu has something to do with the Venus, may show some accusation of sexuality. It's not in the Rasi chart, but in the Navamsha. So we have Rahu in Libra in the Navamsha. Now, 10th Lord from Moon, which shows the work where you're employed, is the Moon itself and with the Jupiter. So he was former school teacher. The Jupiter usually shows any kind of consultancy, teaching, or being some kind of guide. So this is in 6th house, which also shows the community. So he can attract big communities. He can also do something related to service. That Jupiter and Moon also aspects his Aruda Lagna, therefore he was famous. In the Navamsha chart, we have also Ketu and Sun in Trikona, which makes person into that spiritual field. In the Dashamsa, however, we have Rahu and Jupiter in the 7th house, so this is like some scandal related to 7. This may show people who are coming to him, either clients or partnership. The 7th Lord here is Mercury with the Moon, again showing the books. What's interesting, the 10th Lord in the Rasi chart is in the Leo, Rahu, in the 4th house. 4th house shows some kind of place, so work is related to place. So that was that sect, that community, that ground, that village, we could say. And Leo has the syllable Ma. Everything which starts on Ma is Leo. and here we have this name was Mandarom, so this is definitely that Rahu in the 4th house. 12th Lord here is Mars, and this is with the Sun, so too much Agni on the 12th house is also quite dangerous. And we see this is also aspected by Saturn from the 5th house. 5th house shows your followers, 2nd house shows your Kutumba group of people, so that's definitely there. You have a lot of Rajas on the Lagna, so Mercury and Venus on the Lagna is very high to control the desires. You have very normally strong desires with such a combination in chart. Okay, now we are going to the artists, and first we have Carol Lee, and here in the Dashamsa, Mercury is the 7th Lord. It's with Jupiter. Normally this gives someone who is teacher, also can be a she could also be a teaching photography, right? But Jupiter is debilitated, and Venus is aspecting by Rasi Drishti, so we have that Mercury-Venus yoga, which is giving the art. And here we also see she was suffering from multiple sclerosis, so Mercury is the Lagna Lord in the Rasi chart. Dispositor is the Mars, and Mars has to do with nerves and all that neurological problems. Mars is debilitated in the Maraka house. Now in the Navamsha, just to confirm, it's quite dangerous because the Mars is in the 8th house. In the 4th from Moon, which is called Karabhava, which is kind of dangerous, aspecting the 12th house, so now this becomes very fatal and quite dangerous and serious disease for her. So the next chart is of Sarah Lugor. This is a TikTok artist, we could say. She's publishing comedy videos. What's interesting in the 7th house in the Dashamsa, which shows your clients, people who are coming to you for some kind of deal or partnership. Here this is a Venus in the Gemini sign, so this may show young girls, because girls is Venus, young is related to Mercury. Now the Lord will show the business. It's a Mercury aspected by the Moon. That yoga, Mercury and Moon shows communication related to social, because Moon is that social. Would be interesting to differentiate that Mercury Moon from a doctor and from having a shop. So in the main Rasi chart, that should be a way to differentiate between those things. And here we see that the Aruda Lagna is in Leo, and the 10th Lord is with Venus, and the Aruda Lagna Lord will also consequently be with Venus. So this is entertainment sector for her. In the next chart, we have model Lindsay Woods. She is a Brazilian model, internet personality, very straightforward. 7th Lord in the Lagna. In the Dashamsa, Lagna has to do, well, Lagna is the 1st house, has to do with your image, with your body, and here 7th Lord is also Venus. And in the martial sign, there is some sexual blend there with the Jupiter. Jupiter is providing that fame. Even in her Rasi chart, the 10th Lord is in the Lagna. This is either giving the Simhasana yoga, person is having very high position in whatever he is doing. But here also Saturn on the Lagna may give the jobs related to body, because Saturn is very interested in body. Here we see also the Mercury's 8th Lord, Mercury Mars yoga for surgeries. 8th Lord shows transformation, so there may be some transformation of the body, so definitely that's there. In the Navamsha, Venus and Moon in Lagna. Wow, this is aspecting the 10th house, which is providing very high financial wealth. Now for singer Steve Perry, we see that 7th Lord in the Dashamsa is Jupiter and is with the Moon. Moon is showing singing, aspected by that Mercury. So Mercury is that artistic theater, also related to Shukra. Venus is in the 10th house, which is providing some kind of entertainment, and that Mercury and Moon are having the Kartari on the Shukra. So there is definitely a lot of artistic things going on. Now in the Rasi chart, 10th Lord is in the 7th house, which is showing work, is related to public. Now Aruda Lagna, which is showing your sector here. Lagna Lord is in 4th house, so Aruda will also be in 4th house, loaded by Venus. Venus shows entertaining. In the Navamsha, classic Mercury-Venus yoga. In the 9th house of skills, Venus is 10th Lord, which shows that you will be earning from this. Okay, now we have the Ernest Gallo. So it's a very interesting chart, also kind of tragic, because his father was killing his mother, so there was a lot of tragic in the family. Then he had this business together with the sibling, and they also split their ways. So here we see for the parents, 4th Lord in the 12th, so mother, loss of mother, and 9th Lord in the Marana Kargastana, Venus, Mercury. So it's quite easy to see that, and very unfortunate also. In the Dashamsa, we have 7th Lord Moon, because Taurus is also loaded by Moon. So Mercury and Moon shows shop, and for alcohol or any kind of oil or fermentation, like cheese, wine, things like that. We need a Saturn basically. So Saturn is just there. So Moon, Mercury in Taurus. Taurus shows food and things like that. So very, very straightforward. And here we also see the 10th lord in the Rasi chart. From the Rasi chart is that Mercury and Venus. Venus is the 9th lord, so it shows it was from the father. And also Sun is in the 7th, so the partnership with the father, with the Saturn, which is showing some kind of inheritance. Now in the Dashamsa, Mars is aspecting the 7th lord, which shows this is Mars is showing a sibling, a brother, especially the sister is Venus. So this shows that this business was with the brother. The last chart is very easy. It's not always so easy. So the last chart is like a role model chart. 7th lord here is a Jupiter with the Mars and the Moon in the 4th. This is just too perfect. 7th lord of business, 4th house, place. So this is like it could be like, for example, you have some medical practice or haircut shop. It's like a shop, 7th lord in the 4th. And there you have a Moon and Mars. These are very much important for the food because Moon is showing the food, Mars is cooking. So that's there. In the Rasi chart, you would say, oh, 10th lord is Saturn in the 10th, but if it's an own sign, you have to see the Uchanata. Uchanata for Saturn. Uchanata is a planet which is exalting that planet. So Saturn is exalted in Venus, sign Libra, so Venus would be the Uchanata, and Venus again in Taurus in the 2nd house, so both Taurus 2nd house have to do with food, therefore the person was working with the food. And Aruda Lagna is with the Moon, and again here the 4th lord in the 3rd, so that could show that there is some food truck, right? There is some traveling related to food because it's 3rd house. 3rd may show a loss of 4th, so show some kind of, normally some kind of traveling, and again Moon and Mercury will show that shop. And that's there. So by using these rules, by using the Dashamsa, by using the 7th lord, you also can help yourself to see what's your career life, what's your potentials, what can basically succeed, because the Dashamsa is showing the external world. So you may have your abilities from Rasi and Navamsha, but what will succeed? How is the social access to which ideas, to which part of the world you have access? Some people have to high society access, some people have some lower. That also depends on the yogas in the Rasi, but mainly how it comes to you through external means. This will be your Dashamsa. So by just analyzing 7th lord, if you're a freelance and you're wondering what you can do, what you should do, or maybe you can get some inspiration, some ideas for this, analyze the 7th lord from the Dashamsa chart, see its position. Also, you need to master the Rasi Drishti, the sign aspects, because that can help you to see the yogas, the planets which will aspect the 7th lord. So it's not always so easy just to see 7th lord, but sometimes the aspects on the 7th lord can also provide this information. So that's gonna be it for me. I hope you find it interesting and informative. If you do, please make sure to make that thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, please write below, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. See you in the next one.